Welcome to the old Luminous channel again. I'm playing around with a P60 format, and I've never done an awful lot with P60. I've done a little bit, but not very much. I think probably the biggest reason that I like P60 is because you have so many options as far as just using a different LED and a different driver in the same pill and reflector and just slide it into the light. They're easy to interchange. The biggest thing I don't like about it is the brass pill and no heat sinking. Well, I got to really thinking about that, and it's wrong to say no heat sinking because the reflector is the heat sink. I mean, that's what when the pill is screwed into that heat sink or into the reflector, it becomes a heat sink. You know, the problem is that heatsink doesn't go anywhere to the head. It actually touches against the reflector. And this is a 502B, so I'll take the reflector off the head here. And of course the P60 sits in there, and then the pill sits in there, the whole assembly sits in there. Then you screw it together, and it's loose, you know. And what tightens it up is the spring. You know, that's what tightens everything up, is it creates pressure. Now, that spring gives you a negative contact to the body, okay? We know that, but also the spring is pressing against the top of the bezel inside, so it does have a little bit of heat transfer there. Now, I know a lot of people over the years have done a lot of things with P60s, and the thrust has always been towards doing something, wrapping the area to make the pill itself touch against the head. Okay, something to touch things against the head. Well, you know, I get to thinking, we already got a heatsink. If we can transfer heat to the bezel, and the bezel is screwed to the head, then we're also transferring heat to the head. Now, I'm not saying it's the most super efficient way to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and put the spring back on again here. What if we just put the reflector and this whole assembly in there and used a ring, okay? And this ring is not cut exact, it's just an idea. And that ring touches up against the reflector and pushes up against the reflector. And when the head comes in, that ring also touches against the head. In fact, it compresses when everything is screwed together, and now you have heat sink, which has something that touches back to the head to help give some form of heat transfer. So like I say, I've just been playing around with it, and I'm going to throw the pill in there real quick and see if I can't slide this in here. It's not the best way to do it, and we'll see if I can even do it at all. Okay. All right, now when I tighten this down real tight, okay, now the reflector is tight up in the front, and it's tight in the head as well because of that copper ring in there. And that ring is compressed and expanded out against the outside of this, okay, because it's a split ring, so it's expanded out and it's compressed against the head. And then when you put it all back together again now and add the body to it, you still have the normal method of your making negative contact all the way through, because the an original spring is still in place, and the original method of making contact still works. If you had your driver in there, of course, your driver and your center spring, you'd have your positive contact. I mean, to me, this would be a simple way for someone to get some extra heat sinking into a stock P60 without doing a lot of wrapping and all that kind of thing. I don't favor wrapping because of the fact that you don't you lose heat in between the layers of the wrap, especially if it's just copper tape, because you have adhesive between each layer. This way it's sandwiched and pressing that reflector up into the head or up into the bezel tightly, and with that ring in there, it also compresses against the head itself. It's just an idea. I'm not saying that it is the way to go, okay? I'm not saying it's the answer, but I think I'm going to play around with it and try it. In fact, I could even see possibly some kind of a sleeve being made that would go around the actual reflector. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. Okay, some type of a sleeve that would be cover the reflector and fit in that area, and then it would be snug in the head. Okay, it wouldn't have to be copper. It could be aluminum. I'm sure that one of our guys who has a lathe could make something like that, and that sleeve would just go up over top of that reflector snugly, and then when the head went in, when it went in, it actually wouldn't press against the bezel anymore, but it would be tight in the head, you know, and still accomplish basically the same thing. But for a quickie, for a real quick way to see what happens, you know, this little copper ring, all this is a 1-inch copper pipe coupling that's been cut off and split. So anyways, it's just an idea. I'm just rambling, that's all. And I thought maybe I'd do a video instead of trying to take photos and see what you guys think. I mean, it's just open to discussion is all it is. And I'll put this in a thread and see what everybody thinks about it. All right, well, I'm going back at it here again, so thanks for watching.